I can see a monobrow from here.
It's terrible, isn't it? Should we cut it off?
10 likes and we'll trim his eyebrows. 10 likes and we'll trim his eyebrows.
What is it? You haven't seen Ali G, have you?
No, I've never seen it.
And they give him, like, every time he does something, they give him slits. I'll show you it later, but he gives him slits, and he's like, "Mum, them. If you do any more of those, we have to start shaving your pubes." And he's like, "But I don't have any." He's like, "Whatever."
Filmed a video on Tuesday. It was a flop. No energy. It was not a good video. And ultimately decided that I didn't want to do another video in front of the computer screens. Even though all our videos for the last 2 years have been stood in front of a white wall to some degree. A bit different, training related. Backstory, GT was actually in a video many moons ago. I mean, a few videos.
Go and check it out.
You were in the first ever video.
Yeah,
you actually
is that the
are.
one in the car?
No, it's one where Savage Saturdays.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're in the first.
There's another one in the car when we literally sat over there.
Yeah, oh, my forearm's on fire. This hurts. How do people do this?
Katrina, fellow comrade, come to the UK, come. Basically, we're going in for a fat pump session, fat with a P.
Yeah, no squat, no bench, no deadlift. Just pure bodybuilding, because that's what it is now. So TFNL obviously was ting like 3 years ago. So when I spoke about obviously us going separate ways and explained that TFNL was originally a friend group, one of the founding fathers of TFNL. Used to be GT TFNL on Instagram until he became a pro golfer.
And then I ditched that off the Instagram. Now I'm just Will Elkin. Go check it, follow.
Yeah, now he's not even trying to be a golfer. How do you spell Will?
Will Elkin.
Wild Kit Lilkin.
GT.
Will Elking Ulf. Fat pump session. See what happens. Might do a bit of posing in the toilets afterwards. Not gonna happen.
Mate.
Absolutely not.
It's gonna happen.
Absolutely not. Maybe.
Get those cupcake handles out.
Probably do voiceover of the training footage because I can't really talk in the gym because it's too loud.
Yeah.
And if not, I'll do the voiceover when he leaves because I hate him.
See that?
Initially, I was going to say I've never actually done a voiceover without any imagery of my face, but I remembered our first ever video had a voiceover of the training footage with no visuals, or well, visuals of us anyway. I was going to say first time for everything, but alas, I was wrong. As obviously I stated, GT was one of the kind of earlier members of TFNL, one of the founding members of the friend group and the group chat, before it became a YouTube channel, which he has featured in multiple times. So we went through my final session of the week was just like a bodybuilding pump session, which is actually quite enjoyable, to be honest, considering I don't have to do any movements of significant intensity, nor do I have to do any movements that are particularly CNS taxing, such as squat, bench and deadlift. High reps, 15 on nearly everything, I think. Again, there's not a massive amount of volume at the moment. I'm doing full body multiple times a week, so I think 4 days a week at the moment. That's going to go up to a 5-day split at some point in the near future. Yeah, squat, bench and deadlift once a week, and then everything around that would just be accessory work. So most of my training at the moment is to failure, so everything will be RPE 10. I'm not very good at actually going to failure because I'm still trying to figure out what weights I would use to hit failure. I've never really pushed accessories to failure, or haven't done that so in a very long time, so I'm completely clueless whilst trying to maintain like a relatively decent tempo, although the footage is probably going to be sped up. The movements done today: unilateral plate loaded press, superset with rope pushdowns. Never actually used 2 ropes at once because I fear I'm an inconvenience to other people if I do that, but the gym was relatively empty, so I felt like I could justify it, and it felt rather juicy. Underhand grip pull downs, superset with drag curls. It's meant to be done by hammer curls, but I didn't read the program. My bad. Chucked in a bit of shoulder work, so side raises, and ultimately got a rather tolerable pump. The main thing I want to talk about during this voiceover, obviously depending how long it is, I don't want to ramble on for too long, is how my training has changed since transitioning from powerlifting to bodybuilding. The intensity has gone down significantly, and I'm high bar squatty as well, which is something I'm relatively new to. I've done it in the past occasionally, but not for a very long time, nor have I ever done it consistently. It's more, as DWAS says, just to keep familiar with the movement pattern, so if or when I transition back to powerlifting in the future, I'll still be familiar with the movements I'll actually have to perform. At the moment, it's very much full body work every time I train, nothing savagely intense. Obviously, if you increase training frequency, you then have to usually decrease volume accordingly. So you try and accumulate greater weekly volume rather than daily volume, which ultimately is quite important when trying to grow. If you think about it logically, if you train everything once a week, you only have 52 opportunities a year to grow that muscle. You train things twice a week, you double that, 104 opportunities to grow, etc, etc. Granted, there is a trade-off where if you train something too frequently, you lack sufficient volume. Like it is, you probably don't actually give yourself enough time to recover if necessary. Like if I'm training everything every day, 7 days a week, I'm not going to recover, and that's going to be quite detrimental to progress and gains. I know some people who train everything 6 days a week and they get on well with it. I've never done it personally, so maybe I will in the future just to try it out, see what happens, but I don't know if that would necessarily be a good shout. I do think in a few weeks we're going to go over to training everything 3 days a week, but ramping up the volume a bit more alongside the intensity to then, I guess, push it. So far, kind of goals going forward. So I'm going to do a bulk for about 6 months. So I'll bulk until beginning of March. I'm sitting somewhere in the low 100 kilos before actually transitioning. I think I weighed in at 107.4 at my powerlifting comp in November. Weight fluctuated between like 108 and 110 kilos in the morning between November, so the competition, and probably around May. Yeah, maybe May. Obviously started dropping a bit far faster than I would like, so it wasn't particularly controlled. It was a bit all over the place, but I'll probably get into that in another video because there are external things that led to this. Got down to low hundreds, so not really a mass amount of body weight dropped. Obviously training has just changed quite significantly, and now for the next 6 months I'm going to focus on actually bulking and building in a controlled manner. So I've actually cleaned up my diet quite a lot. Beforehand I was eating a lot of crap just to get the calories in. Now I'm trying to manage more of a routine where I can eat 6 meals a day most of the time and keeping them relatively, I don't want to say clean, I don't like using the word clean when describing food. I guess we'll say less processed, more nutrient dense, to ultimately help me build as much muscle as I can in the next 6 months, which granted won't be a lot considering I've been training for a fair amount of years, but a slow and controlled steady bulk for 6 months will be nice to see what we can do, especially considering I haven't really purely focused on bodybuilding training for many years, so it'll be interesting to see what can be done. After that, so when March comes around, provided I'm at a body weight that I'm happy with, which again will probably be around 108 to 110, I will likely diet properly and in a controlled manner, maybe 16 weeks, who knows, and hopefully get in relatively not awful shape. I'm not trying to get shredded, like that's not really my goal. I just want to look a bit better, actually be somewhat lean to a degree before inevitably bulking up to 300 kilo body weight, benching 2.5 kilos more than I have done previously, and hoping for the best. If people actually care, I might go into greater detail regarding my training going forward in the future, but I should and hopefully will start documenting my training a bit more over the coming weeks. Now you shall continue with the rest of the video. Hello?
You got a hole in your top.
I've got a hole everywhere, Chamas. These are old clothes. Don't stand there trying to make yourself look bigger in comparison.
So I just finished up a session.
6 session.
It was.
I say it was like an hour long. But see, that's the big difference about going from powerlifting to bodybuilding. Powerlifting, you're seshing for multiple hours.
You'll be warming up and getting probably 2 sets within the hour, if that.
Yeah, at best. Bodybuilding, warm up, bit of mobility, sick pump, more of a sick pump, hour and a half at most.
Yeah.
Maybe an hour if you push it like today. You push it.
Nah, it's a lot better training bodybuilding, and it's healthier for the joints as well, isn't it?
Yeah, like elbows and back definitely hurt a lot less. And ultimately, I enjoy it more.
Yeah.
It feels nice. It's more rewarding in that sense. Obviously, it's cool when you lift a big weight. That's the one thing I do like miss about powerlifting training is getting gassed for
being a big boy.
Big boy. Getting gassed for a big lift.
But then you get a sick pump.
And then what's better? No one really cares how strong you are unless you're a powerlifter. No one really cares how big you are. You do you. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah,
enjoy the session. Because everyone's like, oh, what's the best training method? What's the best like routine? What's the best diet?
It's whatever suits you and your lifestyle as well. Like you have to train like morning, afternoon, or night. If it doesn't, you need to pick one that suits you and your life. Eat what you want to a certain degree. Try and keep it healthy as.
It's all like when it's all about consistency. You're going to remain the most consistent with whatever you do if you actually enjoy it. They talk about like, oh, what's the best diet? What's the best routine? Whatever. The best one for you is the one you can actually remain most consistent with.
Yeah.
But it's finely balanced. Like, you're like, yeah, I love McDonald's 5 times a day. That's not really sustainable. So I would not recommend.
So it doesn't matter whether you train like sort of 3 times a week, 5 times a week, or 6 times a week. It's just working around like your lifestyle, isn't it?
Just do what you can do. Ultimately, don't say, okay, I'm going to train 6 days a week and then sack off 2 of the days because you can't fit it in to make yourself feel really bad at the fact you missed 2 sessions. Say, okay, I'll train 4 days a week, but if you could train a 5th day, that's amazing, that's overachieving.
Yeah.
But 4 days is a minimum because it's realistic.
Also, you want to add in like a little bit of cardio here and there as well. Like we were so against it before, but it's just keeping yourself like.
Wait, what?
Keeping
Wait, this one on the script.
We're cutting that bit out.
If you want to do cardio, do cardio. Ultimately,
I
depends
do
on your goals.
cardio.
He does a bit because he's trying to get lean. I'm trying to get bigger now. I'm on the bulk. Am I going to do cardio? Probably not, because I have to eat so many calories. I don't want to increase my caloric expenditure. It means I have to increase my caloric intake. I can't be bothered to eat that much. I already eat bare. I don't like it, but
even if you've got like a stationary job, like where you sit down a lot, just try and get some steps in.
Obviously, height of hypocrisy, considering I don't actually do many steps, but I would recommend trying to hit your step target, which is like 10,000 a day.
Yeah, that's
a good
more
amount
of like
of steps.
that's a
cardio-based
amount,
number
but
of
like
steps.
even sort of like 5,000 as a standard. If you have your phone in your pocket as an app with like steps, things like that, so that's just going to naturally collect those steps, and then by the end of the day you've already done 7,000. You've already like beaten your target of say 5,000.
Yeah, we'll probably voice over the training footage explaining what we're doing and maybe how heavy we're going. Not very heavy, it's more of a pump session. See if the video gets a good response. If it does, bless, we'll do it again. If it doesn't, bless, I'll probably do it again anyway.
Cool. Bye, Felicia.